Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about angular velocity and its relation with linear velocity. The velocity that we have discussed so far is the linear velocity or simply velocity. Now let us see what is angular velocity and its role in rotational motion. When we discussed about the rotational motion of a rigid body about a fixed axis, we have seen that every particle of a rigid body moves in a circle. You just imagine this as the rigid body. Here we are just considering a particle here at this point P. So when this, here we have the axis of rotation, this one. So when this rigid body is rotating about this fixed axis, okay, this axis is not moving, it is fixed here. So when this rigid body is rotating about the fixed axis, actually the particle describes a circle. It describes a circular path. Okay, it was initially here, after some time it reaches here, after some time the particle has reached here, okay, then it will reach here again. So when we consider the rotational motion of a rigid body about a fixed axis, we can see that every particle of this rotating body moves in a circular path or moves in a circle. Let us consider the rotational motion of a rigid body. This green colored one, no, this one is actually the rigid body here. So let us consider the rotational motion of a rigid body about a fixed axis. So here Z axis is the fixed axis. Okay, here we have the X axis, Y axis and Z axis. This is the origin and this rigid body is rotating about this fixed axis, that is Z axis, and it is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. That is why it is marked like this. Okay, it is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. We can consider so many particles on this rigid body, and when this body rotates, every particle moves in a circle and that circle lie in a plane perpendicular to the axis of rotation, and center of the circle, that will be on the axis. Okay, for example, you just consider this rigid body is rotating about you just imagine this as the Z axis. Okay, so this rigid body is rotating about the Z axis. Alright, so the particle describes a circular path, and that circular path is actually, you can see that circle lie in this plane, and this plane is perpendicular to this axis now. Okay, the circle actually lies in this plane, and this plane is actually perpendicular to this axis of rotation. Okay, and the center of the circle, that would be somewhere here, that is on the axis. Okay. Here, for example, you just consider a particle is here at this point P on this rigid body, which is rotating about a fixed axis, that is about Z axis. Okay, since the rigid body is rotating about the Z axis, the particle at P on the rigid body describes a circle as shown here, as shown with this dotted lines. Okay, and it also would be moving in the anti-clockwise direction along with the rigid body. Okay, the center of the circle, this is a circular path. So center of the circle that lies on the axis of rotation. So I am taking it as C. C is the center of the circle. Okay, so here the radius of, or the radius vector, that is actually taken as vector R. Okay, the radius vector is represented by vector R, that is from the center of the circle to any point on the circle, that will give us the radius of that circle. No? So here the radius vector is represented by vector R, and it is actually the perpendicular distance from the axis and to the point P. Okay, now to get the linear velocity of this particle at P, we just want to draw a tangent at P to the circle. So the linear velocity will be along the tangent. So here vector V represents the linear velocity of the particle at P. Now, after an interval of time delta t, let the particle has reached here at this point P dash. So initially the particle was here at this point P, then after some time delta t, the particle has reached here at this point P dash. Okay, then I'm just taking this angle, that is angle PCP dash, that is this angle. I'm just taking this angle as delta theta. Okay, so delta theta is actually the angle in radian through which the particle at P has rotated in time delta t. So we can say that delta theta is the angular displacement of the particle in time delta t. So here delta theta is the angular displacement and delta t is the time of rotation. Then the ratio delta theta divided by delta t is actually called as average angular velocity. Okay, the ratio delta theta divided by delta theta is the angular displacement and delta t is the time of rotation. Okay, delta theta is actually the angle through which the particle at P has rotated in time delta t. So, delta theta by delta t, this ratio is actually called as average angular velocity. Angular velocity means the rate at which an object rotates. It gives us an idea about how fast an object or particle rotates with respect to another point. In time delta t tends to 0 or in the limit delta t tends to 0, that is limit delta t tends to 0. In the limit delta t tends to 0, this ratio delta theta divided by delta t, that becomes d theta divided by dt. This d theta divided by dt is called as the instantaneous angular velocity of the particle at this position or at this point P. Okay, instantaneous angular velocity, it is actually denoted by omega, a Greek letter. So, angular velocity is denoted by or represented by this letter omega. It is actually a Greek letter. Okay, now the magnitude of linear velocity, that is v. Okay, the magnitude of the linear velocity v of the particle moving in this circle can be related to the magnitude of the angular velocity, that is omega, by a relation that is v is equal to omega into r. I am taking this as equation number 1, where v is the linear velocity and omega is the angular velocity. Then r, it is actually the radius of the circle. This relation can be applied to all the particles of the rigid body at any given instant. You can consider a particle here at P1 on the rigid body. R1 is actually the radius of the circle described by this particle on the rotation of this rigid body. This rigid body is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So, the particle also would be rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So, it describes a circle here and its radius is R1. You can consider a particle here at P2. It describes a circle of radius R2. Or you can consider a particle here at P3. It describes a circle of radius R3. Similarly, you can consider n number of particles on this rigid body. And to all these particles, we can apply this equation v is equal to omega r. Where v is the linear velocity, omega is the angular velocity and r is actually the radius of the circle actually described by that particle on rotation. Okay, thus for a particle at a perpendicular distance Ri, okay, I am simply taking it as Ri from the fixed axis. Why Ri? See, the radius is different for different particles at different points on the body, no? That is, here the radius is R1, here the radius is R2, here the radius is R3. Okay, so this I can be 1, 2, 3, etc. n. For the first particle, okay, for I equal to 1, if you are taking I equal to 1, then Ri becomes R1. Okay, which is the radius of the circle described by the first particle. Then for I equal to 2, this Ri becomes R2. R2 is the radius of the circle described by the second particle. Like that. Okay. So, what I am saying is, for a particle at a perpendicular distance Ri from the fixed axis, here the axis of rotation is z axis and it is fixed axis here, the linear velocity at a given instant can be written as vi is equal to omega into ri. Okay, I am taking the vi is equal to omega into ri and I am taking this as, okay, I am just putting it in a box where I equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, that is for a particle, you can take any particle on this rigid body and it is at a perpendicular distance Ri. In general Ri, it can be R1, it can be R2, it can be R3 like that. Okay. So if you are considering a particle at a perpendicular distance Ri from the fixed axis, the linear velocity V at any given instant of time can be written as Vi is equal to omega into Ri. Okay, this I can be 1, 2, 3, etc. N is actually the total number of particles on the body. Alright, now for particles on the axis of rotation, okay, if you are considering a particle here on the axis of rotation, that is you are considering a particle here, or you are considering a particle here, or you can consider a particle here, you can consider a particle here. That is, here we have considered the particles here on the body, and if you are considering the particles on the body and it is on the axis of rotation, what will be the value of R? R will be equal to 0, no? Okay, for particles on the axis of rotation, R is equal to 0. Okay, that is when the particle is on the axis, there is no distance between the axis and the point where the particle is, because particle is itself on the axis. Okay, so R equal to 0. What about linear velocity of the particle on the axis? V equal to omega into R is 0. Omega into 0 will give you 0. That is, linear velocity of a particle on the axis is 0. Means the particle on the axis is stationary. Okay, that is, axis is fixed. You see, in this expression Vi equal to omega into Ri. Okay, that is, I can be 1, 2, 3, etc. For I equal to 1, Vi becomes V1, which is the linear velocity of the first particle, and Ri becomes R1, which is the radius of the circle described by the first particle. Then for I equal to 2, V2, R2 like that. Okay, but you see here we haven't written omega I. We simply wrote omega. We haven't written omega I. Why? Because omega is same for all the particles. That is, we use the same angular velocity omega for all the particles, or we can refer omega as the angular velocity of the whole body. Okay, when we consider the pure, translational motion of a body, all parts of the body will have the same velocity at any instant of time. And that velocity, same magnitude of velocity at any instant of time. And that velocity is actually the velocity of the moving body. Okay, similarly, when we consider the pure rotational motion of a body, all parts of the body will have the same magnitude of angular velocity at any instant of time, and that will be the angular velocity of the body. Okay, so this angular velocity omega, no, this is a vector quantity. For rotation about a fixed axis, the angular velocity vector lies along the axis of rotation and points out in the direction in which a right-handed screw would advance if the head of the screw is rotated with the body. Don't worry about hearing all these sentences. Let's see how it works. For example, consider this paper as a rotating body. Let it rotate in the clockwise direction. Okay, about an imaginary axis passing through its center. Okay, just imagine this point as a center. So there's an imaginary axis passing through its center, and this object is actually rotating in the clockwise direction like this. Okay, or you can, I have just fixed a screw here, so you can just imagine this as the axis of this axis of rotation of this rigid body, and let this rigid body is rotating in the clockwise direction. Okay, so here we have the object. It is rotating in the clockwise direction like this. Okay, then I am just taking a screw here and I am just rotating the screw in the direction in which the body rotates. The body is rotating in the, we said it is rotating in the clockwise direction. So we just want to take a screw and we just want to rotate the head of the screw in the direction in which the body rotates. See, the body rotates in the clockwise direction. Clockwise direction is actually shown here. This body is rotating in the clockwise direction. So, and this is actually this blue colored one. No, this is actually the axis of rotation. Okay, now when we rotate the head of the screw in the clockwise direction, for better understanding, I am just keeping it like this. When we rotate the head of the screw in the clockwise direction, you can see that the screw goes in. No, that is, the screw advances in this direction. The screw advances in this direction. Okay, that is, you can just use your common sense in tightening and loosening of screws. You will get a better idea. Rotating a screw in the clockwise direction means tightening the screws. Okay, so screw goes in, no? Okay, that is, a screw advances in this direction. Okay, like it is into the plane of the paper. Okay, or it is in this case it is into the plane of the paper. It advances in this direction, so it is into the plane of the paper. Okay, so direction of angular velocity, that is vector omega, is marked like this. Alright, now when the same body is rotated about a fixed axis, okay, this blue colored one is the fixed axis, in the anti-clockwise direction, what would be the direction of angular velocity vector omega? Because angular velocity is a vector quantity, it has both magnitude and direction. Alright, so if the same body, in this case the body is rotating in the clockwise direction, so angular velocity is actually along the axis of rotation and it is along this direction, that is into the, if you are considering this as the body, then into the plane of the paper, like that. Okay, now when the same body is rotated in the anti-clockwise direction, what would be the direction of this angular velocity vector omega? See, for that case I have just taken, again you just imagine this as that body. It is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction, that is, it is rotating in this direction. Okay, so we want to take a screw here and we want to rotate the head of the screw in the anti-clockwise direction. So you see, I am just rotating the head of the screw in the anti-clockwise direction. I hope you can see this. It is just like loosening the screw now. The screw comes out, okay, or screw advances in the outward direction. Okay, so vector omega will be along this axis, okay, along the axis of rotation, and it will be pointed out. Okay, so this would be the direction of angular velocity when this object rotates in the anti-clockwise direction. Or we can just use our right hand. We have discussed about the right hand screw rule, right hand rule for the direction. Okay, in our previous videos, I will provide the link in the description box. If you want, you can watch that. See, when we use our right hand here the body is rotating in the clockwise direction. So, we just want to take our right hand palm, then make it rotate in the clockwise direction. So, this thumb points in this direction now. So, thumb will point here in the direction of angular velocity. Alright, then in this case, the body is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So, we want to rotate our fingers, or we want to curl our fingers in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, we want to curl our fingers in the anti-clockwise direction. So, our thumb points in this direction now. Okay, that gives us the direction of angular velocity vector omega. Alright, so I hope you got an idea about angular velocity, the direction of angular velocity. What about the magnitude of angular velocity? Omega is equal to d theta divided by dt. Now, let us consider the particle at P and describing a circle like this. I have just redrawn that here, okay. The particle is here at this point P. This dotted path is the path of the particle P, and here the particle is moving in the anti-clockwise direction because the axis of rotation is actually Z axis here, and the body is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So, the particle is also moving in the anti-clockwise direction about a fixed axis here. Okay, so vector omega, that is the angular velocity vector omega, that will be along this direction. That will be along the axis of rotation and pointed out like this. Okay, the vector omega angular velocity will be pointed out and it will be along the axis of rotation. You see, the particle is moving in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, it is moving in the anti-clockwise direction. So, this thumb points in this direction. Okay, when it is moving in the anti-clockwise direction, thumb points out like this along the axis but in this direction. Okay, so vector omega is marked like this. Okay, that is the angular velocity vector omega is directed along the z axis and it is directed along the positive z axis. Alright. Now, you see in the figure we considered earlier, see the origin is here, no? Okay, that is the origin is here and it is on the axis of rotation too. See, in this figure, I have marked the origin O somewhere here. Okay, so the position, the origin is actually on the axis of rotation too. That is, I have just redrawn that figure actually here by only taking this part. Okay, so there the origin was on the axis of rotation. Here also the origin is on the axis of rotation. Okay, now the position vector of the particle at P with respect to the origin can be considered as vector OP. Right, the position vector of the particle at P with respect to the origin, that can be considered as this one, that is vector OP. Okay, now you see this vector OP, let this be vector R. Okay, let this position vector be vector R. See, here we have CP as the radius of the circular path described by the particle at P, no? So, the radius vector is directed along this direction, that is from the center to the point P. Okay, now I am considering another vector, that is vector OC here. Okay, I am considering another vector here, which is vector OC, which is directed from the origin to this point C. So, we are considering another vector, vector OC here, which is directed from the origin to this point C. Now, let us see what the vector product vector omega cross vector R corresponds to. Okay, see, vector omega cross vector R is equal to vector omega, which is the angular velocity vector, cross vector R, which is what? Vector OP, no? The position vector. Okay, so vector OP. Vector OP is equal to vector R. So, we can write vector R is equal to vector OP. Okay, see, I am taking this as equation number 2 here, because we have already taken one equation number 1. That's why I am taking this as equation number 2. Now, you see, when we apply the triangular law of vector addition here, which we have already discussed in our previous video, I will provide the link for that triangular law of vector addition in the description box. If you want, you can watch that. So, when we apply the triangular law of vector addition here, we can write what? Vector OC plus vector CP is equal to what? Vector OP. By applying triangular law of vector addition, we get vector OC plus vector CP is equal to vector OP. I am taking this as equation number 3 and I am going to apply this equation number 3 in equation number 2. Okay, so this equation number 2, this becomes what? Vector omega cross vector R is equal to vector omega cross vector OP, which is equal to what? Vector omega cross vector OP can be written as vector OC plus vector CP. Okay, so this can be written as vector omega cross vector R is equal to, this can be written as vector omega cross vector OC, vector omega cross vector OC plus, okay, because here we have plus, then vector omega cross vector CP. Alright, I'm taking, you see, I'm just taking this as equation number 4 and I'm taking this as equation number 5. Now you see, we have vector A cross vector B is equal to AB sin theta into n cap. Okay, so what is the magnitude of vector A cross B? AB sin theta is the magnitude of vector A cross B. Right, magnitude of vector A cross B is AB sin theta, and this n cap, that actually gives us the direction of this vector product, because when we know that when we take the vector product of two vectors, the result is also a vector. Okay, so here you see we have vector omega cross vector R is equal to vector omega cross vector OC plus vector omega cross vector CP. See, what will be the value of vector omega cross vector OC? See, vector omega, this is along the z axis. Okay, this is along this direction. And vector OC, this is also along the same direction. Okay, that is both vector omega and vector OC are along the same direction now. So, angle between them, that is theta, would be 0. Okay, so vector omega cross vector OC, its magnitude would be what? Omega into OC into sine 0, theta 0, sine 0 is what? Sine 0 is 0, 0 into any value will give you 0. Okay, so this vector omega cross vector OC, that becomes 0. Alright, so this equation number 5 becomes vector omega cross vector R is equal to, this is 0, 0 plus Okay, so vector omega cross vector CP, this becomes a null vector. Null vector plus this. Okay, this vector omega cross vector OC, this actually becomes 0. Its magnitude is 0. When we write it in the vector form, this will be a null vector. Null vector plus any vector will give you the value of that vector itself. So vector omega cross vector CP here, and I am taking this as equation number 6. When we have discussed about the vector product or cross product in our previous video, I will provide the link in the description box. If you want, you can watch that. There we have seen that vector A cross B is equal to AB sin theta into n cap. The product vector A cross B, this is actually a vector quantity, and this will be perpendicular to both vector A and vector B, or the plane containing vector A and vector B. Okay, so here we have vector omega cross vector R is equal to vector omega cross vector CP. So the result or the product of it would be perpendicular to both vector omega and also to vector CP. See, vector CP, that is actually the radius of the circle described by the particle at P. Okay, so perpendicular to this means what? A tangent drawn at this point P would be perpendicular to the radius vector, no? Okay, so this tangent, already a tangent is drawn here. Excuse me for the bad drawing. You just imagine this as the tangent at this point P. Okay, please excuse me for that bad drawing. So, the tangent would be perpendicular. The tangent drawn to the circle at a particular point, that would be perpendicular to the radius vector. Okay, the radius drawn from the center to that point. So, these two will be perpendicular. Okay, here we have the tangent and the radius vector, both will be perpendicular. So that is, the vector quantity that we get from the vector product vector omega cross vector CP will be along this tangent. Okay, that is along this direction. So we got the direction of vector omega cross vector CP. Okay, vector omega cross vector CP would be along this direction. So we got the direction of vector omega cross vector CP, that is vector omega cross vector R, along this direction. What about the magnitude of vector omega cross vector CP? See, vector CP, it is actually the radius vector. Okay, and vector omega and vector CP both are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so I am just representing this vector CP by R perpendicular, vector R perpendicular. Okay, I am just representing vector CP by vector R perpendicular. Alright, so what about the magnitude of this vector omega cross vector R? Magnitude of, see, we can write it as magnitude of vector omega cross vector R is equal to magnitude of vector omega cross vector CP, which is equal to what? Its magnitude would be omega into Cp into sine of angle between them. What is the angle between angular velocity and the radius vector? 90. What is the value of sine 90? Sine 90 is equal to 1. So 1 into omega Cp will give you omega Cp. Okay, what is omega Cp? This can be written as omega into Cp can be taken as R perpendicular. Okay, so we got the magnitude of vector omega cross vector R as its magnitude as omega into R perpendicular, and I am taking this as equation number 7. Okay, so we got the magnitude of vector omega cross vector R as omega into R perpendicular, and the direction along the tangent to the circle described by the particle at P. Okay, see, what about the direction of linear velocity vector V of the particle at the point P? It is also having the same direction, no? It is also along the same tangent, no? Okay, that is the linear velocity vector V. Linear velocity vector V at point P has the same magnitude and direction of, that will have the same magnitude, and as well as it has the same direction of vector omega cross vector R. So we can write vector V is equal to, this is vector omega cross vector Cp along this direction. That vector omega cross vector Cp is actually equal to vector omega cross vector R. So, and we said the linear velocity vector will have the same magnitude and direction as that of this vector omega cross vector Cp, which is equal to vector omega cross vector R. So, we can write vector V is equal to vector omega cross vector R, and I am taking this as equation number 8. Okay, we have discussed about the rotation of a top in our previous video. Now, I will provide the link in the description box. If you want, you can watch that. In that case, the axis was not fixed, but a point was fixed. And this equation 8 vector v equal to vector omega cross vector r, which gives us a relation between the linear velocity vector and the angular velocity vector. This equation holds for that case too. Okay, and that is this equation number 8. It even holds good for rotation of a rigid body with one point fixed. Okay, in such cases, vector r is a position vector of the particle on the body with respect to that fixed point, which is taken as the origin. Okay, for rotation about a fixed axis, the direction of vector omega does not change with the time if the axis of rotation is fixed. Its magnitude may change from instant to instant, but its direction does not change. But for in general cases, actually the magnitude, both the magnitude and direction of vector omega, both may change from instant to instant in general cases. So in this video, we have discussed about the relation between angular velocity and linear velocity. We got the relation as linear velocity vector v is equal to vector omega cross vector r, where vector omega is the angular velocity vector. So this is actually the relation between the angular velocity and the linear velocity. I hope you understood this. Thank you.